Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach with New England Sports Talk, and today we are recapping the draft profile of Rui Hachimura out of Gonzaga. So he's a 6'8", 230 junior forward out of Gonzaga from Japan initially. Didn't know a lick of English when he came here, apparently. So a very fun prospect, and obviously this is somebody that if you're outside maybe the top three, maybe this is a guy, maybe even if you're in the top three as well, you're looking at keeping this guy and interviewing the guy and scouting and all that stuff. Doing team workouts with him because he has the potential to be big time, and not only that, but his cultural impact he can have on the game himself alone, being from Japan, is going to be insane if he can make it, if he can turn out to be a really good player in the NBA. Now let's go ahead and go over everything with him today. Like I said, he's 6'8", 230. He's ready to get in this league and make his mark. He's a junior forward. He can really play not just forward though, he can play guard, he can play maybe even center depending on the lineup that you have with the other players as well. Like Draymond Green does that as well a lot. He's like 6'9" or something. He's kind of got this similar build to him, I would say, but he can play. He's just as versatile as maybe a Draymond Green is. Now, I don't think his game is Draymond Green, but as far as versatility, especially on defense, that's exactly who he reminds me of. Now, let's talk about some of his strengths that he has coming into the league. So the dude is extremely fast and very, very effective in the transition. You know, he crashes the glass on both sides, whether it's offensively or defensively. And when he gets that defensive rebound, though, he's ready to run. And a lot of times he's a forward, so sometimes he's not always in the paint. So he's ready to run his lane down to get the outlet pass and score in transition. He really likes to finish strong at the hole, so he's very effective at finishing at the hole, and he's also a very good defender as well too. So very effective at switching on defense, especially guarding smaller defenders. You're going to see it in these highlights here where he's blocking several shots from smaller defenders. Maybe he doesn't have the best positioning and he's not the best shot blocker in the next level. However, especially with smaller guards, he can definitely hold his own. So very consistent with that. And also he's a solid free throw shooter. This is exactly what I talked about in my DeAndre Hunter video as well. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. And he's also a very solid free throw shooter. And like I said in that video, free throw shooting sometimes comes down to free throw shooting whenever a team decides to take, one prospect over the other. Rui does a very good job as far as doing that, so I don't think he's going to have any problem getting picked. I would say at least the top 7, but I say he could be even earlier than that because he's just as good as some of these other guys that are getting drafted as well. Now, some of his growth areas, again, just a reminder, these are not weaknesses by any means. These are just areas where he can grow on to really develop his future part of his game. And that's just getting consistent from game to game. In the March Madness or in the NCAA tournament, he had 2 games with, I think they were each 6 points each, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was 6 and 9 or something like that. But 2 games that were below double-digit point scoring. So he has to be more consistent. The other 4 games or 3 games, whatever it was that he played in the tournament, he did really good and he scored really well. But it was just some consistency with his game. You want to make sure he's consistent from game to game, especially at the next level. And also just getting more comfortable at shooting the 3-point ball. Sometimes when he was wide open, it looked like he hesitated a little bit or maybe didn't have as much confidence in it. That will change. That will grow. He's a gym rat. He likes to improve his game. He works very hard. He doesn't cut corners at all. So he's going to get that improved. So if your team drafts Rui Hachimura, have no problem with his work ethic. I think he's going to be just fine. Now, some of the key matchups that I want to talk about let's talk about some of well, they're all really good, I thought, but let's talk about the very beginning, very opening game of the season. November 6th, he played Idaho State, and he set his season high scoring total, like most points scored. He had 33 points of 13 of 18 shooting, not bad. The second highest game he had, and there's only been 2 games where he scored over 30 points. Second time he did that was on February 2nd against San Diego, and he had 32 points on 11 of 15 shooting. It was 7 rebounds, so not bad. When he's on, and he's shooting effectively and efficiently as well too. Not bad at all. Now, we're going to talk about the Elite 8 appearance that he had on March 30th against Texas Tech. Texas Tech did win. He had an okay game, not terrible at all. Played very good defense. Shooting from the 3-point line, he went 0 for 3, but as a whole, he did not do bad at all. 22 points, 8 of 19 shooting, so he's below 50%. That's below his season average, but that's okay. 8 of 19 shooting, 5 rebounds, and like I said, he had a goose egg as far as the 3-point ball, and that's pretty much where their season ended because, again, that was in the Elite 8, and Texas Tech went on to win that game. One game that I also want to point out as well too was November 21st. So we're kind of going back in time a little bit. That was a really big game against Duke. Duke was undefeated. So was Gonzaga, like their 6th game of the season. And he put up 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and their team won by 2. So it was a nail biter all the way to the end, but he played extremely effective. And also, he also did win MVP of the Maui Invitational Tournament during that tournament when they played each other. So he came to play on the big stage and really played really well. And obviously, he won MVP for it as well. So I wanted to mention that as well, just so you guys know. And then also another award that he did win not too long ago was the Julius Erving Award for top small forward in the league. Not bad at all. A fantastic resume, and he's got some hardware to kind of back it up for it with the Julius Erving Award, and then the MVP for that tournament as he took down Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish and Duke and all those guys there as well. So not bad at all. So at this point, guys, we're going to go ahead and put up his season stats so you can take a look at it. 2018-2019 stats for this previous season we just finished up. Basically 20 points per game. Very good scorer, very, very good scorer. And you'll see at the bottom, he's very effective as well, too. He's very efficient. But he had 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists. You would like to see the assists go up, especially at the next level. You have to be able to share the ball. And I don't think we'll have a problem with that at all. I think that'll continue to grow because he showed he can continue to grow his game and that kind of thing. And then obviously field goal percentage was basically almost 60%. So you are not going to argue with 60% shooting, especially from a small forward or a power forward. Again, you want to see if that can translate to the next level, but he shoots efficiently and effectively. It's just sometimes, like I mentioned in his growth areas, sometimes he has these games where he just doesn't, he's not very aggressive anymore, or maybe he can't get around the defensive game plan to allow himself to have a good game. But I think that's going to change. I have no issues with him whatsoever. I think he's going to be fantastic at the next level. As far as a quick comparison for him, 2 safe bets that you can probably rely on him to be, and that could either be maybe an Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic. Very effective, can shoot very well from the mid-range or from the inside, and I guess also the mid-range as well too. Aaron Gordon's getting that shot. He came into the league, he couldn't really shoot a 3 ball, but he developed that as well, kind of similar to Rui. But also another comparison would maybe be Wilson Chandler. I don't know. I couldn't really decide on which one I wanted to compare him to, so I figured I'd just put both of them in there and let you guys decide what you think that he could be. But those are kind of my middle ground kind of players, I guess that's the way I should say it. But as far as like a high end, because on the other videos I've had kind of a low end and a high end player. I don't know what my high end player would be for him. So if I honestly had to just give you one, it'd have to be just Rui Hachimura. Like, he's going to be him. You know what I mean? Like, when he gets to the league, he's going to develop his own type of game. Maybe we haven't seen it before. Everybody has their different like style of play and things like that a lot of times is just new to us, we haven't seen before. And I think that's exactly what he's going to be. I think he's going to be fantastic in the league, and he's going to give us a different type of ball for him. And I feel like a different type of play style for him. And I think that he's just going to be very fantastic on the next level. And again, my favorite team is the Lakers, but if we get him at 4, there's no problem at all with that. I love this guy. I think he's going to be fantastic. So as always, guys, that was it for today's video. I'll have another one out for you guys in a little bit. Again, my name is Zach. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and also, if you haven't already done so, leave a comment and tell me what you thought about this draft profile review and how excited are you for your team maybe possibly drafting for this guy. All right, guys, that was it. See you in the next one.